the grand finals of this week's EPT Cup Americas, which means, of course, we're on the Korean server, where our two Korean players are going to be going at it. Spawning in the upper right-hand corner of Post Youth, we have Talon's Dark, winning some ZVZs to get here to the grand finals. His opponent in the lower left, taking down the last North American in the semis to get here to this grand finals. We have Shopify Rebellion's Byun. This is always a banger between these two. Absolutely. Gonna be an excellent best of 5. And if you guys are excited for this best of 5, I will ask you, do me a big solid. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. That'd be a big solid for me. I'd appreciate it. Thank you. I'm gonna say thank you in advance for hitting that subscribe button. Just slam it. Slam it down. Just boom. I don't know if you could hear that. I slammed my table. It was loud. It startled the cat. Last time I cast a grand final between these two that started out on Post Youth, we had a draw. It was like a 45-minute game on this map that turned into a draw, which is funny because we actually genuinely almost had a draw and a TVZ on this map earlier. But yeah, it was an absolutely sick game on this map between these two. It became a draw, and then we had a second game that went like 25 minutes also. The series was sick. It was so good. One of the best TVZs I've ever gotten to cast. So, I don't know if we're going to have another draw, but at the very least, I'm expecting a really, really good match between these two. Dark, in this past KSL, fought against Clem, and, Clem and ByuN are very similar in a lot of ways. They both like to they both have a lot of speed. They like to do a lot of multi-prong pressure, and Dark handled Clem's pressure really, really well. It was honestly impressive how hard Clem had to fight to get any sort of damage done in those games. Really, really incredible play out of Dark. So if he's been playing like that lately, I think it's going to be really tough for ByuN to find a way in. That being said, he is ByuN. That's what he does. Yeah, speaking of Clem, I'm surprised he didn't play in the America's Cup today. It could be that his sleep schedule isn't quite on point for it. This is a it's not like a bad timing for Koreans, but it is early. So if he's like jet lagged and sleeping in during the day kind of thing, it might be tough. KSL starts at noon, and that is 20 minutes from now in Korea time. So this is early for these guys. They woke up early for this, or in ByuN's case, genuinely he might have stayed up late. I know he has done that before. But probably they went to sleep after the Korean EPT and woke up for this one. So it's possible Clem's just not quite on the right schedule and didn't want to mess up his sleep to play in this. He does have, there's a Stormgate tournament that's going to happen next week-ish. I'm not sure exactly when that's happening. I feel like it's pretty soon though. That I know Clem's playing in, so that's really cool. I think that's part of the reason he went to Korea. Or, I don't know. Maybe he was planning to go to Korea anyways, but it is cool to have Clem in Korea. It's unfortunate he didn't play in this. I don't know if he played in the EPT Cup this morning, the Korean one, but we did have Trigger playing in this one today. He's also in Korea. He made it to the semifinals, so feeling pretty strong, but ByuN, it turns out, pretty good. He's pretty good. He's ByuNbelievably good. Sometimes he feels ByuNstoppable. He'd be great if he partnered up with Kim Possible. You know what I mean? That's a 2v2 dream team right there. ByuNstoppable, Kim Possible. Oh man, he just needs to play a 2v2 with somebody whose family name is Kim. which I feel like should be pretty easy to find. I don't know most of the Koreans' names, but I'm like quite sure there's a few whose family name is Kim. Because then you could have Kim Possible and be unstoppable. I think we've figured something out here. ByuN is doing a little harassment. The Hellions really haven't gotten too much done. The Banshee's going to come in and really try to get a drone, but the transfuses. Okay, he gets one drone. The Banshee just barely going to get out of range of that Spore Crawler before the Queens just destroy it. Sees the Overseer morphing, and it's going to back on out. Other than that, Bane's going down. 1-1 is nearly done here for Dark. He's actually really far ahead in that 1-1. Just getting those upgrades really going. ByuN's got this third base behind this, but see if Dark tries to get aggressive at all. He's got some Lings coming out. But ByuN has kept these Hellions alive, and I think keeping the Hellions alive is really, really nice if you're playing kind of greedy like this. ByuN doesn't need to get as much drone damage done if he's also just expanding like crazy, right? Like that's the nice thing here for ByuN. And keeping these Hellions alive is it's a good way to help defend those kind of greedier expansions when you don't have a ton of Marines back at home, maybe. But it does mean that both players are just expanding and building workers. So not a ton of action happening in this game just yet. Trying to think who has the family name Kim. That's a StarCraft player. Classic. Yeah. There we go. So ByuN and Classic, the 2v2 team. Kim Possible and ByUnstoppable. Perfect. We did it. Now ByuN's push is going forward here. He's got a couple of siege tanks back here. Just clearing some of this creep out for now. Dark being patient. Doesn't want to engage just yet. Centrifugal Hooks is almost done, and there's 12 Hydras on the way out. So he doesn't really want to engage until any of that's done. He is going to try to take this base. I feel like he's got to be a little bit careful. The Marines are right here. It's just that ByuN hasn't spotted that base is being taken yet. Or I think he would have just stimmed over and forced the cancel. But he is clearing a lot of this creep, and this is really, really important. Dark's creep spread has been very, very good. And ByuN wants to try to cut that off as early as possible. Keep it back as much as he can. We were watching Raynor play earlier today against Spirit, and I noticed that Spirit wasn't able to clear a lot of that creep. Raynor just had it half map the entire series. It was just there. And there is the cancel. So ByuN does force that cancel, kills the drone. Dark's got another 5th base on the way over to the left, but ByuN, he's got his 4th base established. It is misplaced. So I hope he notices that before he turns this into a planetary. Oh, it looks like ByuN's finally gonna, or Dark's finally gonna dive in and try to route this position. Tanks are gonna get cleaned up here. The Marines are gonna have to get lifted and boosted out. Oh, there's some more Marines actually diving in here. This is going to be nice. They'll keep Dark back at home for a little bit. But as I say that, he is just moving out. He does not care. It's turning into a planetary. ByuN. Oh, he realizes it, but the push is coming. This really needs to be a planetary. The tank is unsieged. There's still Marines in his medevacs. Oh, man. Dark's push. This is looking very, very difficult for ByuN to hold. Maybe impossible. He does have 3 more siege tanks back here that I think surprised Dark as much as they just surprised me. But I don't know if it's going to be enough. The Banelings rolling forward onto the Marines. The Hydras and Lings killing the siege tanks. And ByuN just has nothing left over here. GG. Just like that. Dark being so patient and waiting until he had an overwhelming force to crush that attack from ByuN. And then just using that momentum to keep on pushing in. Taking down ByuN's army piece by piece. And ByuN's reinforcements not out fast enough. The planetary was not done. And that's a simple game number 1. No draw here. No super long late game here. Dark just ending it. Game 2 is going to be on Oceanborn. I guess Clem beat Solar in the finals of the EPT Cup this morning. I'm glad Clem played in that one. I do think that maybe he didn't play in this one because his sleep schedule was a little messed up to play in it. Or he was just like, I'm not waking up at 7 for that. Not doing it. I don't blame him. I've even had some players tell me that the KSL is too early. ByuN, when I asked ByuN why he didn't play one time, he was like, it's too early, man. It starts at noon. Heckin' gamers. But also, I get it. I get it. If I didn't have to wake up for work, it's tough to get me out of bed. You know how hard it was to wake up for this today? And I woke up late. I woke up at 9 when it started. I was like, oh, I have to like get ready. Didn't get streaming until 10. That's how it goes. Anyway, spawning in the upper left-hand corner of Oceanborn, we have our blue Zerg player. It is Talon's Dark. Starting up real strong here, 1-0, as his opponent got swept off the board in that last game in the lower right for the Shopify Rebellion. It's ByuN. Yeah, quite a succinct game there. I liked a lot of what ByuN was doing. I think maybe he did just stay out on the map a little too long. And, I mean, that could be a tough thing, right? Because he's still forced to cancel on that 5th base. And he was trying to get his base set up back at home. But I feel like he was out there so long, Dark's army just eventually fully swarmed him. And, you know, he's caught with half of an army back at home, half of an army out on the map. And unfortunately, half an army versus a whole army. Well, you know, it's like Ron Swanson says. You never half-ass 2 things. You got a whole-ass 1 thing. Dark kind of... He whole-assed. Dark whole-assed. And ByuN ended up half-assing. You know, it's a very clear-cut example of exactly what Ron Swanson was talking about. He was actually talking about StarCraft. I don't know if you guys knew, but in that scene, that's what he was referring to. Let's see if game number 2, anything changes up here. ByuN does have a second barracks on the way. Is this a 2-1-1? That'd be something special. A ByuN 2-1-1. A legendary build from the old days. I don't actually remember the 2-1-1 build. I feel like it's been so long since I've seen it. Who was it? Actually, I say that, but then I feel like somebody just did a 2-1-1 against a Protoss recently. Maybe it was Han Mono. I don't know. It was the Terran was definitely an underdog. I think it was Han Mono that did like a 2-1-1 against a Protoss, which I thought was cool. It's just one of those like unexpected builds. I think it ended up not working out particularly well, but I like when players pull out kind of unexpected builds in matches. Now, this was scouted. In fact, the factory was scouted too. So Dark knows what he's up against. This is pretty clear. But yeah, this is like just such a classic build here out of ByuN. It's crazy. This is if you're learning Terran. I've been saying this for years. This build is old. I'm pretty sure ByuN was doing this in 2016. Like this is like old school Legacy of the Void build. 16 Stim Marine drop. If you're trying to learn a TVZ build, just like learn this one. I feel like this is a great baseline build to understand the concept of build orders in TVZ and how to play this matchup. It's just so it's It's just good. It's solid. And if you're learning build orders, you're probably at the skill level where this is going to do quite well. Zerg players at the highest level have learned to defend this with Queen Ling, and they're just fine. So at the highest level for, Byun, this first initial 16 Marine drop isn't likely to get anything done, except maybe clear some creep, force Dark to make nice big round of Lings. But a lot of it comes down to the follow-up pressure, and this build is still a very good way, I would say, to get the tempo of the game on your side. And I've seen Byun start off, I mean, it's been a while since I've seen him do this build, but even like last year he was doing this build. I've seen him start off, and it doesn't feel like much damage is getting done, but he's the one controlling the tempo of the game. So then the follow-up hurts a little more, and the follow-up to that hurts a little more, and it starts piling on a little bit, and the Zerg player can start off feeling like, yeah, it's totally fine, I'm defending it, it's easy. But as that pressure piles onto itself, compounds the issue for the Zerg. We'll see if that's what ends up happening here, as Byun is hitting the edge of the creep now with the Marines. Behind this, he does have siege tanks coming out. Third base on the way. Third barracks on the way as well. Oh, there's 1-1 and the extra 2 barracks as well. There you go, getting all sorts of production up. Does he have a scan? Apparently not. Apparently he doesn't have a scan. He's just walking on creep with no scan. He did have a scan. I don't know what he's doing over here. Just trying to force more Lings to be made. I do not know why he did not scan. I do not understand. Yeah, he's being very chill with this double drop. He's not trying to get in and do drone damage, but it also means that he's not losing anything. I don't know. He's not killing anything, but he's not losing anything. Generally, I would say this is not great for Byun, but I do feel like the follow-up is going to be where more damage can get done. There we go. Finally, a bit of trades here. Some Marines kill a few Lings, and they are going to now boost around the backside and see if they can't get in somewhere. Oh, Armory is almost done. 2-2 can get started up. Speaking of 2-2, Dark has +2 Carapace and +1 melee on the way now. So a bit disjointed on where the upgrades are for each of them, but relatively even. And here comes Byun's follow-up. It's just going to be some more Marines and some more medevacs. He's going to finally scan and clear this creep. Trade with a few Lings. Well, looks like Dark's doing a great job defending so far. His Hydra Den is about to finish as well, and that's going to give him more of an ability to kill these medevacs. So Byun's going to have to be a bit more careful with his pickups and his pullaways. It's not just the Lings and the Queens that are going to be causing him issues, but the Hydras as well. Oh, Byun maybe finding a way in. Turns out Lings are pretty quick, though, so every time he drops, the Lings seem to just be right there. And again, Dark is handling this beautifully. Ooh, Queens almost get a medevac. Is the empty one as Byun lifts up into the full health one. Drops come in, drops come out. You can't explain that. Look at Byun's traded beautifully. Almost 3 times as good. Doesn't really make much of a difference, though. 11 Hydras on the way out. Now for Dark. I mean, Dark is not on a huge drone count here. That is one thing I will say. Is that the economies are very similar. I see kind of a fluctuation back and forth here with mules and the like, but especially as Byun's taking this 4th base, it feels like the economies are very similar. And this time I think he will get it situated into a planetary by the time Dark is able to push across the map. Dark is starting to break down these rocks. That medevac somehow barely survives. Banelings roll into a bunch of Marines. ByuN could try to sneak out with these medevacs, or you can just leave them there for a while. That is something that ByuN likes to do. But as I say that, he does drop into this third base again, right as the Hydras and Lings all left. I think this is probably the end of this drop, but he's going to grab a queen. I think he grabbed maybe a drone or two there. ByuN takes the worker lead. Got his planetary fourth base set up. He's just playing very defensively right now. I was expecting ByuN to put on a lot more pressure with this opening. And maybe Dark was too. Maybe that's why ByuN was so chill with it. Instead, just getting into this super defensive position with a lot of siege tanks, pressuring with a couple of double drops, but no real frontal push. And now there's ghosts coming out. The ghosts are coming out before the lurker den is done. And, I mean, that's a really nice position for ByuN to be in tech-wise. I think maybe he saw last game and he was like, you know, instead of really trying to attack, Dark seems to handle that really well. I'm just going to pressure, poke, and prod and get into what feels like an extremely even late game. Somebody in chat asking how long one map will take. That will vary a lot. So if you are new to the game and you're like, how long does a game take of StarCraft? I mean, there is no time limit on a game, so it can go on for a very, very long time. I mean, technically there's a time limit, but it's 6 hours, 30 minutes, and 22 seconds, and then the game ends. We're not going to have that issue, I think. But I was just mentioning earlier, I've seen a 45-minute game between these two that ended in a draw. Back in Heart of the Swarm, we had 2-hour games kind of regularly. This one's already shaping up to be a nice long one, although I love that Dark is just taking bases and bases. I would honestly love to see him take this base as well, and I think he's planning on it. He's trying to suck up as many resources as he can, suck up as many base positions as he can. But then sometimes a game can be a cheese and it can last 5 minutes. I've seen 3-minute games. I've seen 3-minute games, and I've seen hour-and-a-half games. Both pretty recently. So it can vary. I would say on average, a game, like a solid game of StarCraft, is probably 10 to 15 minutes. That's a pretty reasonable amount, I would say. And Dark finally kills that medevac. It's not a threat anymore. But we're really shaping up for late game here. Dark has recognized that ByuN's going to be mostly passive and just stick at home and tech up, get his defenses up. Dark said, okay, I will do everything I want to on my side of the map, including build 64 Banelings all at once. That is an insane amount of Banelings morphing right now. That is insane. 71 Banes on the field at the moment. Look at them roll. Look at them roll. Rolling, rolling, rolling. Keep those Banelings rolling. Gotta keep on rolling. Banelings. And he's going to go right into these planetaries. Blinding Cloud on top of some of the tanks. One on the planetary doesn't actually work, weirdly enough. But he's going to take down both planetaries and all of the siege tanks. Still 20 Banelings left off the back of that, too. 10 SCVs go down. Now, ByuN's just going to retake this base with another command center he had nearby. And he's poking at the top of the map, but it looks like the queens are holding on just fine up there. So, all in all, this was a little expensive, but I think quite good for Dark. Taking out bases is always nice. Defending back at home at the same time. And again, he's got bases just all over the place. I wouldn't hate to see him just send drones around. Like, honestly, I wonder if it'd be worth it to take, like, drones from the natural to third and send them to the fringe bases. And then if they die, replace them back at home. You know? Maybe it'd be worth it. Lurkers are out now, and Dark loves to just morph like 11 lurkers at once and then just dive in. That's exactly what he's going to do here. He's not fully in range of this planetary, but there's not enough here to actually repair it. There's only a few SCVs right now. I guess maybe with this tank killing these lurkers, but at the same time on the other side, Lings and I'm assuming Banes, but maybe just Lings getting in here and taking down this planetary. And ByuN, he's going to have to replace the command center this time. Doesn't just have an extra one nearby. But Dark, he is just keeping this pressure on. Just take down some of that economy. Max out again. Go in again. That's a good scan on that one. There's a few ghosts here as well for Byun. But here comes Dark on the lower left again. And that's going to be cancels on the command centers. Oh, and in fact, the third base is in some trouble now as the Lings are breaking in. Byun's going to have to bring his reinforcements from the other side over here to deal with this. But that's 32 dead SCVs all of a sudden. I don't even know where those SCVs just died. But they did die. Byun down to 53 workers. Oh, the Nidus Swarm trying to come down where the base wants to go. Byun cleans it up. It looks like he will defend over on this side as well. But his mining is significantly decreased from what it was earlier. And in the meantime, I mean, Dark is mining so much. He's on 86 drones. He has so many bases that Byun hasn't been able to do anything about. Look at the creep spread. It is just absolutely everywhere on this map. There's a couple of spots not filled in, but it is just... it's all over the place, man. Dark sees absolutely everything he needs to see. Oh, and the Hydras come in. They kill both the Medivacs. And Dark says, all right, I'm going now. There's so many siege tanks, but is it even going to matter? The planetary goes down. And I don't think Dark cares about the siege tanks. The one thing Dark doesn't have is a huge gas bank. But honestly, Zerglings are going to be so good here against a tank-heavy army like this. Now, Zerglings are, they have 3/3, or +3 attack on the way. +3 Carapace already done. Adrenal, I assume, has been done for a long time. The Nidus Swarm gets up in the main. The Lurkers get out and burrowed. It looks like they will be cleaned up. Oh my god, one Lurker makes it out. No, Byun pulls everything down to fight down here, but leaves one Lurker alive in the main. This was nice, though. It was a good scan. Oh, but Dark breaks in the other side. That didn't go nearly as well as I thought. He killed a couple of siege tanks. That was a lot of deadlings for that. Supplies are even right now. Dark spending a lot of money. Looks like this Lurker was finally cleaned up by a reinforcement tank. Let's take a look at the trades. Byun has traded about 6,000 to 7,000 resources better, but Dark has mined, I would say, quite a bit more than that. So we see he still has a mineral bank. Still on 91 drones as well, so he still is mining a lot as he's getting this tech out. He just morphed a bunch of Lurkers. He's back up to 8. And he's ready to dive back in, I think, as Byun's desperately trying to take this base, but Dark does not want to let him. The Vipers aren't here, though. The Lurkers are going to burrow. Do we have some snipes? There's a couple. But still a lot of Lurkers left alive. But a couple of siege tanks live as well. Dark isn't pushing in on this side at the same time. Doesn't have another army over there. So Byun holds on. He's able to hold on to this base for now. Still not a fantastic economic position for him, but, you know, a base is better than no base. Dead Lurker body floating up through the camera. I do love the maps with the gravity reversed, the underwater maps. That's just fun. It's just a good time. Oh, Vikings in a good position to stop those Overseers getting in to cause more Nidus craziness. It's something Dark's really good at. Getting in Niduses, burrowing Lings around. We haven't seen him get a Ling run by in just yet, but that's something he loves to do as well. Dark is finally pushing out to clear some of this. He wants to kill this base, but I don't know if he has enough to push out of there yet. And at the same time, we have the first wave of Locusts coming in because Dark built 18 Swarm Hosts to start pressuring into these bases for free. Because why spend money every time you send a wave of units in when you could just send free units in? Oh, Dark in here with the triple drop, but he's got to be careful. Parasitic Bomb goes down on one of the Medivacs. Now the Baneling's going to come in and clean up the rest of this. Dark going to continue holding on to this base position, not letting Byun take it. At least not yet. Going to make him work for it. Next wave of Locust coming in. I think he wants to go for the planetary. And he will get the planetary because, well, they're Locusts. That's what they do. Down goes the planetary. And the Locusts are starting to pay for themselves. They're not quite there yet, though. Those first couple waves, they didn't do a ton. They did okay. Byun's going to try to move forward, though. Scan up on the high ground. He's going to be able to take down some of this static defense pretty easily. The Lurker's stopping those ghost snipes for now. Oh, Dark going to counterattack through the middle here. This third base is in some trouble. The door closes. No, it doesn't. Byun! Ah, you left one open. Oh. God, and these Lings just kill stuff so quickly. And this is where Dark can get absolutely out of control. We've got a Locust wave coming in. We've got Lings in the natural. We've got Lings trying to get into the main base. Scans going down everywhere, though, as Byun knows Dark's tricks. And I think he's killed all the Lings. I don't think any of them got burrowed anywhere, which is when it gets really wild for Dark. He'll just burrow like, oh, never mind, hold on. There we go. 6 Lings just burrowed over here. And he's going to unburrow him, just keep causing havoc. Oh my god, he got one more in the main. Oh, he's in a Changeling. He's got a Nidus trying to come up in the main now. He's got Lings hitting down here in the third. It does look like the Nidus is going to get stopped. The Lings get killed. But then Byun's focused back at home, and he's not putting that pressure on over here, which is just buying time for Dark for another wave of Locust, which is going to come back in now. There are a lot of Marines here, though. Marines going to be very good against this, especially with the Siege Tank support. Honestly, not too bad for Byun, and at the same time, he does kill the base over here. Still a lot of creep in his way. He's one step closer to taking another base. Supplies are very similar. Byun still has quite a big army. Dark does have almost a 10k, 5k bank. He's pretty close to that, so that's a little bit terrifying. Byun's got a little bit of a bank started, but that's like, I mean, his savings kind of look like my savings right now. Just to say they exist. They could be better, you know? They could be better. I kind of wish my savings looked like Dark's. As Dark comes in with another wave of Locusts. Can they get cleaned up? These Locusts have not done a ton. But also, the Swarm Hosts have not died. So I feel like that's still overall going to be very good for Dark. The longer they stay alive, the more value they're going to get. Some snipes going down here, but looks like Byun gets pushed back. I think he's going to have to get out of here. Oh, Byun, get out of there. Get out of there, Byun. No, Byun. Ah, losing some ghosts for free. Looks like he's more focused on the left-hand side, where Dark is now sending some units to defend. Oh, Locust come in again. Oh, they get a few tanks this time, landing right on top of those siege tanks. That is painful for Byun, who was trying to get a little bit aggressive with those. Dark did not let him. Oh, now Dark just spills in. He says, I killed your tanks. I don't think you have enough to defend this base. I think he might be right. Byun's base is getting routed. This is an important base for him. He doesn't have very many. And he's just taking another one with 30 SCVs going down here. Dark kills a lot of stuff, and he can just back away. Byun's supply plummeting to under 150. Only 28 SCVs here for Byun right now. That feels like not enough, even with mules. Nidus Swarm's going down. These spread creep on their own, too. So annoying. Massive mule hammer here for Byun. I mean, I guess it's not that big, but it's still pretty big. As the Swarm Host send another wave of Locusts forward. This one doing some more damage here, killing some of these bio units. Lurkers in the meantime moving over here on the right-hand side. ByuN has still been trading well, but this is... that's much too close considering how much more Dark's been mining this whole time. I will say Dark's worker count seems to have dwindled. I think he's just built a lot of spores and spines. But his mining isn't quite as strong as it was earlier. He still is on a 10k, 5k bank though. So I guess it's pretty good as these lurkers are just making a mess of this part of his base. And Dark at the same time I think might be trying to push in over here as well. We'll bring in some Hydras. Where are his swarm hosts right now is the question. Oh, they are in the Nidus Swarm, and they're going to pop out over here. So ByuN cleans this up, but is he going to be back in time to help defend these siege tanks? I think the answer is probably no. Oh, and this planetary is in some trouble. I think that's a dead planetary. Oh, he doesn't get the landing quite right. Dark going to lose a lot of these locusts for nothing, which is fine because they're free. But that's good for ByuN. That base would have died if Dark had focused it down. But now Dark's counterattacking right back into the natural, which has already had some issues. And there's a Nidus in the main at the same time. Oh my god, and it's going to get up. Dark's base is absolutely in shambles. Or ByuN's base is absolutely in shambles. Dark is just getting in here doing so much damage. ByuN is killing a fringe base at the same time. But again, Dark's bank is so beefy. That is not that important even. This is way more impactful as units are just going down like crazy as they pop out. Production is going down. This is all stuff that ByuN's going to have such a tough time replacing. The Locust not doing a great job. They don't even have to do a great job. Oh my god, the depot is going to burn down. ByuN's almost supply blocked. I will say, this counterattack from ByuN has done a lot. 34 drones went down. 2 bases. Dark is down to 30 workers and really only has 2 base mining. The problem is his bank is so big that he doesn't need anything more than 30 drones on 2 base mining. Like, this is fine for right now. He's going to want to get these bases back up. Or he could try to take this one. But ByuN's in a tough spot. He's on like 1 base mining. This is mined out. Yeah, ByuN is on 1 base mining right now. Another wave of locusts coming in here. Gonna land on something and get some amount of damage done. At least a couple Marines. ByuN is still traded better, even with those locusts. They really haven't done as good as we've seen locusts do in the past. They've had a couple of decent volleys, but nothing crazy. Dark is starting to chew through that bank. He's down to 6k. I mean, still 5k gas. The problem is, when Dark needs to become more cost efficient, he's very good at that as well. And I believe he has quite a bit of tech at his disposal. And oh no, there's no door to close. And that's going to finally put the last nail in the coffin. Despite ByuN still having a lot of supply and Dark's mining not being great, Dark just had way too much of a bank. He could just keep doing that. And the trades were still pretty even across most of that game. And it ends up being a very good game number 2. But Dark goes up 2-0 in this grand finals. I think that ad is going to run at the right as the game ends. I apologize if you missed the very end of the game. If you did, let me recap. You saw 99% of it. Dark got Lings right in the main and ByuN tapped out. That's for the people who might miss the last few seconds because of the ad. It's literally just that. But I apologize. I've already snoozed the ads enough today where I can no longer do it right now. So that game just took a little bit longer than expected. But that should time out so we can watch the whole next game. So all right, let's get into game number 3 here. We are on Site Delta and spawning in the upper left-hand corner. We have Talon's Dark. And he is on match point now, looking to 3-0 his opponent in the lower right. The red Terran for the Shopify Rebellion, it's Byun. It's been tough for Byun. We'll see if he tries to change it up. Game 1, he got... game 1 was greedy, but he did get a bit aggressive, right? He had a push going. But it wasn't overly aggressive, and I think that might have been his problem, is Byun hasn't been overly aggressive in this series. Game 2 was obviously, it was just him chilling, sitting back, playing super defensively. Keeping almost everything at home. We'll see if Game 3 he wants to put a little more pressure onto Dark, or if it's going to be another very defensive game for Byun. I feel like this map is a lot worse for defensive play for the Terran. The first 2 maps, I think it makes a little bit more sense to try to play that defensive style. But like this one, I don't know. This doesn't feel like a good map for sitting at home, getting tanks up, getting into ghosts, and trying to play defensively. Especially after Oceanborn didn't go super well. But I actually do feel like it's a bit tougher for Zerg in the super late game, maybe, than Oceanborn. So it might just be that Dark doesn't want to let him get there. Whereas last game, Dark seemed perfectly comfortable with Byun getting into hyper late game. He's like, oh, you want to play that game? Okay, let me just take every single base on the map that's not actively yours right now. And get all the tech I want. You know, all that good stuff. Oh, there's a meows. Somebody's upset. I've been casting all day. It's okay, buddy. We're going to hang out after. My plans for after this are to sit on the couch and watch a movie. You know what? I haven't done that in a while. And I love just sitting on the couch and watching a movie. It's one of my favorite things to do. Well, Byun is going to play very economic focused in his opening here. The quick 3cc. Pretty classic build. Hellions coming out. Put some pressure on, as you do. We have a Roachborn already coming out from Dark. And a Roachborn at this time feels to me like Dark's going to get a little aggressive. And this is a classic Dark move right here. That's what Dark be liking to do, is build roaches and get a little aggressive. Byun knows that, so he's going to go for Cloaked Banshees, which is a great way to defend against some of Dark's roach builds. Dark could also be expecting like a Hellbat push or something. I mean, he's getting 9 roaches out, so he's getting aggressive. Byun's going to have to keep the Banshee at home. And the nice thing here for Byun is as he scouts roaches out on the map, which I don't know if he spotted these roaches. Dark's done a great job zoning these Hellions out with the Queens and keeping the roaches hidden so far. I don't think Byun spotted them. I think he would have put a bunker up if he had spotted them. Oh, there's 26 Lings on the way. Dark is bamboozling Byun right now. The third base here might actually be good for Byun, because the roaches might stop and hit it first and give him a second to defend, or at least they'll run by and then Byun can know. But they do just run right on by a lot of Hellions here on the backside. Not going to be the most helpful, but they can buy a little bit of time. Looks like they're going to try to get back up into the natural. The third base is going to have to lift. Sorry, in the middle of that, the cat just like knocks stuff down. Nothing important, but that concerned me for a second. But the Banshees seem to have cleaned this up and pushed it away. Shows you how important Banshee openers are against specifically Dark. The bunker is here now. Some roaches are still going to hit this third base, though, and ByuN's going to have to lift that and pull it away. The Banshees do come in here. The Spore Crawler not quite done yet, and that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, my God. 8 drones going down before that Spore Crawler finished up. Dark just a little late on that, losing a lot of drones for it. This is really nice counter damage for ByuN, because Dark behind this was just going to drone like crazy. Oh my God, the bunker's going to go down. Get the repair. There's so many Lings right here. But it looks like this will be enough for ByuN to take this down. Oh, this bunker is still just burning, but Dark gets pushed away. Good defense from ByuN. It looked like it could have been dicey for a second there, but getting the bunker up was crucial. He had enough Hellions to help push all that away. And the Banshee's getting a lot of damage done on the other side of the map. This has not been a good trade for Dark. And his worker count is not such that he can just take terrible trades. He lost 13 drones, so economically he's going to take the lead here, but taking bad trades at what was an even economy for a long time, that's not ideal. But he is about to get some damage done over here. SCV is getting pulled away. The Banshees are here to try to defend, but it looks like ByuN was going for a push. I think he needs to keep going with this push. Start clearing some creep. More roaches on the way here for Dark. But ByuN is way up in the army supply right now. Armory is done, so there's a few Hellbats in here as well. Medevacs are here now to start healing everybody up. Guys, I think Medevacs might prioritize low hit point units. I think they might. I think they do. ByuN stimming forward. Not enough roaches here for this. Queen's starting to get taken down. The Ravagers morph, but they got to run away immediately. Ooh, ByuN's a little bit split here. Banshees are coming over to help out as well, hitting on the roach side. And those roaches are going to get taken down. Dark is in a lot of trouble here. I don't know if he has enough to defend this push. I think the tank went down. Banshee's now focusing down the Ravager. So the Marines want to take this base out. ByuN's just going to target it down. And then he's going to lift up and get out of there. It does look like Dark will defend, but not on a great economy. ByuN is up workers back at home. It's 3 base to, I guess, 4, but Dark hasn't really saturated this base at all just yet. And there's a 4th CC almost done for ByuN. I'm really liking ByuN's position in this game right now. Off the defense of that early roach push from Dark and the counter damage from the Banshees. Then that follow-up now with the Marines, the Hellbats, the Siege Tank. It feels like ByuN's put himself in a fantastic position. He's up 30 supply. The worker count is even. He's still being annoying here with the Banshees. Although, bit of a missed rally there. Down it goes. But his follow-up push is going to be very strong. He forces a cancel or just a straight-up kill on this hatchery. And I don't know if Dark has spotted this move out. He does have the units in position, so. It's pretty much just Marines. But I feel like these 1-1 Marines are about to just absolutely mince up the Roach Ravager. As long as they dodge the Ravager Biles, there's just not going to be enough roaches here for Dark. Hydras are popping out, but they die immediately as they pop, and GG gets called. ByuN pulling the series back. He says, I will not be 3-0'd today. And he gets taken out. Okay, I very specifically paid attention in that game. There was the group of Marines that had just stimmed, so everyone was injured. And the medevac healed the Hellbat that was on the edge of the Marines. It was not, I mean, maybe it was, because sometimes the vision's a little hard to tell. I do not think that medevac was closer to the Hellbat than to those Marines. I think it prioritized the lower hit point unit. I genuinely think it did. Because, and earlier, there was in one of the other matches earlier, I kind of noticed this. There's a bunch of red Marines, bunch of orange Marines, bunch of yellow Marines. Almost everything was injured. And when the medevacs had a second to heal, just like a second, all the Red Marines got up to orange, and nothing else seemed to really change. And I feel like they prioritized the low hit point units. I don't know. I could be off base. Maybe this was just kind of lucky. Maybe I'm just misreading the situation. Could have just been luck that that's what happened today when I was paying attention. But I feel like it's worth checking out. I feel like somebody should check that out. Somebody probably knows the answer to that and has tested it out. It just wasn't me. Now let's get into game number 4. We're here on Alcyone. Spawning in the lower left-hand corner, we have Talon's Dark still on match point against his opponent in the upper right-hand corner for the Shopify Rebellion. It is Byun. It's a basic rule of triage. Those with the worst injuries are treated first. Well, those with the worst injuries that can be treated, maybe. There's another basic rule of triage, which is where you don't waste the energy treating somebody who you can't save. So, it's fortunately not really a thing in the StarCraft universe. You can be on death's door with 1 hit point, and that medevac will heal you right on up. I wish I could remember any of the medic voice lines right now. I always forget what they are. Anyways, game number 4 here. Byun, who has opened with a different build every single game, I think, is going to open up with his patented 2 racks on the low ground Reaper. It was a very solid build. Good way to open. Dark is going to be able to get the scout on this. He sees the second racks. Sees the immediate reactor, so he knows, too, that this is just 2 Reapers. Which is kind of crazy, actually. I feel like this is usually 3 Reapers. But Byun getting into the quicker reactor. Reaper gets 1 kill. Second Reaper shows up. Woo! That was close. That was close. If Byun lost that Reaper, honestly, I would have lost faith in Byun. And he's going to lift the racks, make sure to kill that Overlord. Stim is on the way already for Byun. So this is a 2-on-1 follow-up here for Byun. But I say 2-on-1. He has not built the factory yet because he's straight into Command Center. So 3rd CC is already on the way. Again, very economic focus. Interesting just getting into it in a different way, right? Oh, copy pastas are good. Boomed. Thank you so much for the raid. Hope you had a lovely stream. Welcome in, everybody. We're just getting going here on game number 4. We'll see if it's going to be another nice long game or if this one's going to be a bit more succinct. We had, what, 1 hyper long game, but the other ones have not been very long. Pretty quick, actually. And you get to the mid game, and then something just kind of... Somebody just wins. Somebody just wins the game of StarCraft. You know, either of these players, I think, have the ability to win this series, lose this series. We could have a really long game here. Or you know what? Maybe it's just going to be a quick one, a short one. We're just gonna have to find out. Shouldn't have to let these players decide for us. I hope we get a game 5, though. Game 5 would be nice. TVZ is just so fun. It's fun seeing Dark play two very different Terrans in Clem a few days ago and now Byun in these finals. I do feel like Dark really turned it up against Clem in that grand finals. That was some of the best play I've seen from Dark in any of these weeklies. Like, he's such a strong player, and we see some real moments of brilliance from him, but a lot of times it feels like he's just not at 100%. He's just cruising at like 85% and just, just playing some good StarCraft. But against Clem, I really feel like he turned it up, gave it that extra. That was such a good series. I'm going to put that one on YouTube for sure. So make sure to subscribe to my YouTube so you don't miss any of these bangers. If I keep saying it, people will subscribe, right? You just have to manifest it. You put the energy onto the universe. Right? All right, Ben's got a bit of a push coming across over here. This is more Marines than will fit into the medevacs, so some of these Marines are probably on a one-way trip. Lings seem to be coming home to help defend this. Creep spread is going to start getting pushed back. More Lings coming out. The Baneling Nest is about to finish, but it's not here just yet. Queen's going to have to be transfusing like crazy. The Lings, I think, got to come in here and start fighting to push this back. Medevac's getting kind of low. One is going to fall. Means only 8 Marines can actually get out of here. But a lot of Lings going down, and now it's just the Queens. And uh-oh, these Queens are out of transfusion. Oh, no! Oh, my God, GG. Okay, I was not expecting a 7-minute game number 4. Like, that looked like a, powerful little push, but I guess the lack of the Banelings there, it really caught Dark off guard. How many Marines there were. I feel like that's something he would usually just swipe away, but just didn't quite have enough. Good positioning there on the Marines, and maybe too much focus fire on the medevacs. Those Marines stayed alive for a long time. GG. Well, all right, I'm going to run the ad right as that game ends, so somebody's going to miss the beginning of this. I apologize for. Not that they'll hear this part because they'll be listening to an ad, but I want to make sure we don't have an ad in the middle of Game 5. I'm trying to get better at learning where to run ads and how long I need to, I don't know. If you subscribe to the Twitch channel, there's no ads. Think about that. Think about that for a moment. Stick that in your pipe and smoke it. Now, spawning in the lower left-hand corner of Amphion of Game 5, we have Talon's Dark. His opponent in the upper left-hand corner for the Shopify Rebellion, it is ByuN. Catching Dark a little off guard in that last game with how many Marines came across the map. That was not 16. That was like, it was really only like, 24 maybe? Didn't feel like a crazy amount. It might have been more than 24, maybe closer to 30. But just turns out man with gun pretty good. And ByuN caught Dark trying to just defend with Queen Ling. When it's interesting because I've said this before, a lot of times Dark, you try to catch him droning or try to catch him defending without enough, and you'll run across the map and there's like 15 roaches and you're just about to die. That clearly wasn't the case in that last game. ByuN did actually catch Dark off guard. Actually caught him being maybe a little too greedy. Delaying that Bane Nest by a little too much. And ended up going very well for ByuN. The game just ended. And now we're on a Game 5, and it feels like it can go any direction Dark looked really strong in those first couple of games. It felt like Byun wasn't going to be able to do it. But he's one game away from the reverse sweep in this matchup. Now, Dark decided to go for an early pool this game. So he's already got Lings out and heading across the map. Gonna try to be kind of annoying here. We'll see if he's able to get in and kill this SCV. This map, the Reaper gets a nice little easy path through the middle here. But that means that the Lings, who are taking the long way around, are absolutely just going to avoid that Reaper and get onto this SCV.
I'd say we're taking the long way around.
Oh my god. And the door's open. The Marine going to get jumped on. It looks like it will just barely stay alive, but it's going to go down now. Woo! And now it's just the SCVs. The second Marine is about to pop out. That's already 2 SCVs going down. A big delay on the command center. This is working out really, really nicely for Dark. Gets a third, gets a 4th SCV. Oh, just barely doesn't get that 5th one to delay the factory. But 4 SCVs, huge delay on the CC, which is still not started back up. Pulls the Reaper all the way home off of his back. It's exactly what Dark's looking for, and I love that he did that on this map, where the Reaper is much more likely to just go through the middle here. Yeah, he's just taking advantage of the map. Really nicely done. Now Byun's going to try to counteract this with a quick 3rd CC again. This is looking a lot more like game 2. I think game 3 he opened like this. Yeah, it was game 3. When Dark did his Roachy move. But obviously this puts Byun in a bit of a worse position. And Dark likes to do that. Dark likes to, I mean, obviously putting your opponent in a worse position, every player likes to do that. But Dark likes to disrupt build orders and disrupt, you know, the state of the game that his opponent's in. That's just something Dark likes to do. That's why he does these early pools, early roaches, stuff like that. Even if it's maybe not technically the most cost-efficient thing, which I think in this case it was cost-efficient for him to do that. Take the little hit in the early game to get a bigger boost in the mid-game here. But the real reason it's worth it is because Byun's build is going to be a little bit off time here. Be a little bit messed up from where he's expecting it to be. And while I think Byun's going to be pretty fine in that situation, I don't know. It's the kind of thing that Dark likes to do. I think it's a strong thing for him. He sees the SCV mining out here, so he knows Byun's going to try to take the 3rd in the back. Wouldn't hate to see Dark mine through his own minerals so that he can get Lings over there. Hey, look at that. Dark is a genius. Smart. He's a smart guy. He's a smart feller. Or as everybody's dad would say, he's a fart smeller. Maybe that was just my dad. Double Evo chamber going down here. A little bit behind Byun's 1-1. But Byun also delaying his starport by a long time to get into this 3 rack scenario. Actually going up into 5 racks very quickly even. He hasn't produced a lot of Marines though, so he's spending all of his money on production so that he can start producing Marines in a little while. But I guess because Dark's just been droning up, taking a base here. Byun doesn't really need the Marines just yet. No lair here for Dark. We're 6 minutes in. No lair just yet, but he is double expanding here. Taking the left and right side bases. Byun's poshing with the Hellenes, but it looks like the Hellenes have, well, they've come to their end. Taking down as many Lings as they can. Byun will take this base, but this is somewhat exposed. Dark has opened his mineral patch. And he can access this side as well. I wouldn't hate to see Dark try to take these rocks down. I feel like that can be very strong. As ByuN moves over here, he's on creep. There's a base nearby. Dark, he is ready for this. He might still have to cancel this base. Still a nice victory there for ByuN. Got more and more Marines coming out now. 1-1's about to finish. Oh, but the Lings get the surrounded. Perfect timing. Just before 1-1 completes. And ByuN can't even take a nice little trade. And Dark is going to open these rocks up. He's sending these Lings around the other side. Oh, he's sending them to another set of rocks. Lings take a long time to get through rocks. And ByuN's actually going to come back in before these Lings are done getting through the rocks. Clear up even more creep over here. Oh, he's bringing a siege tank this time. I don't know if Dark is quite ready for that. Without these rocks being broken, that's going to be tougher to defend as well. Centrifugal hook's about 2/3 of the way done or so. As 10 Banelings are trying to morph here. A couple of them get gunned down immediately. ByuN's handling this so nicely. These rocks get taken down. He could try to hit these rocks on the backside now. But it looks like Dark's just going to go for a massive counterattack. Oh my god, he's insane. Leaving just some Queens and Banes back at home, hoping that ByuN is more passive with this push. Similar to how ByuN was in Game 1, actually, where he went for kind of a push, but he was just kind of, you know, being annoying about the base, not really putting the pressure on. ByuN does have a tank up here that Dark's going to need to contend with. It looks like he's going to send some Lings forward first, and then the Banelings after to bust through the wall. Tank is blasting those Banelings, but the Lings are getting in. The tank is going to go down. There's still some Banes left. ByuN forced to lift up, but that means these SCVs are just all alone, and 15 SCVs going down just in a flash of a second. And ByuN is going to hold on against these Lings, but he's losing a lot of SCVs. He lost that tank. Oh my god, even one of the Lings burrowing. Some Lings burrowing on the top side as well. ByuN wants to keep pushing here, but the reinforcements for Dark are all right nearby. And I think Dark can just clear this, man. I mean, I know he's being patient, and that's always going to be the good choice here. Like, it really feels like he can just clear this. It's 2 tanks and a handful of Marines. The upgrades are equalized right now. Although 2-2 is about to finish for ByuN. But it's not really that far behind for Dark either. They're actually pretty evened up on these. More reinforcements coming in for ByuN. That's going to make it harder to crack. But that means the reinforcements are not here in the natural. Oh my god. And ByuN down to 39 workers. As he gets fully surrounded here, the medevac lifts up some Marines, but it can't save these SCVs. The tank is going to go down. ByuN trying to push in on the other side, but there's so many Lings and Banes here. No, he's not watching for a second. He does start to split and pull back. Dark decides not to commit in. He has Adrenal on the way as well. ByuN back at home. He's losing so much. Oh my god, the main has been cracked. The armory goes down. GG gets called as ByuN's push was annoying and Dark's push was game-ending. Dark takes the 3-2 victory, doesn't let the reverse sweep happen, closes it out. I gotta say, I do feel like Dark looked like the better player in that series. That was some excellent TVZ or ZVT out of Dark. You'll love to see it. What a match. We knew it was going to be good. We knew it. We knew it would be good. GG's.